What's up everyone, welcome once again to the channel. It's your boy Luis Portelles and today we're going to be talking about Miss Universe Nigeria 2024. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys asking me to cover this particular topic since it's been controversial and has people, I would say, very polarized in terms of where they stand when it comes to the victory of Chidimma Adetshina. Now, lately I've been super busy, so I haven't had the time to do a proper full analysis video, but I wanted to make this quick one to share my sentiment, basically, where I stand, how I feel, the pros and cons of having Chidimma as the new Miss Universe Nigeria 2024. So before we get into that, let's go back a little bit to Miss South Africa 2024, right? Chidimma was considered a fan favorite for the crown of Miss South Africa 2024. That is a fact. If you do not agree, you need to go talk to your therapist. Do not argue with me. You will not change my mind. She was one of the favorites and perhaps one of the most beautiful candidates of the entire batch. For a couple of weeks already, there have been rumors of Chidimma not being South African, that she's from Nigeria and this and that. And sometimes certain countries have certain tensions, which I can understand. And there's history and there's a lot of things behind that. But personally, I felt like it wasn't fair for the girl to be targeted without people considering her situation or maybe what she's going through or the context that brought her to this particular time at Miss South Africa 2024. People were just like seeing things very black and white and just whether they loved her or they hated her. The scandal turned political when some figures got involved and allegations were made that Chidimma's mom had faked her documents to reside in South Africa. Therefore, Chidimma and her family did not have legal standing in South Africa. Because of this, Chidimma was ultimately disqualified from Miss South Africa 2024. In fairness, I'm not sure if she was disqualified or if she removed herself from Miss South Africa, but the point is that she was not able to compete anymore. And I would like to emphasize that even the batch of Miss South Africa 2024, including the current title holder, the winner, they were very empathetic about Chidimma's situation. They saw her as a sister. They saw her as an equal. It's not just because of your parents and something that was done in the past that suddenly your feeling of belonging to a country disappears. Well, that's on that. She left Miss South Africa. And here comes Miss Universe Nigeria extending her an invitation to join the pageant. If you ask me, this is of course a great opportunity. I thought that on the Nigerian side of things, of the organization, it was quite clever to show the girls that, you might be rejected elsewhere, but here back home in Nigeria, we always will love you and support you and you can come here whenever you want. Chidimma ultimately decided to accept the invitation. She joined Miss Universe Nigeria 2024 and she was just crowned as a winner a couple of days ago. I think it's been like 2 or 3 days since her victory. So far so good. I mean, it's kind of like a perfect outcome for her. She competed in South Africa, she was disqualified, she was told she doesn't belong, she went to the country where her parents were born, she was accepted, she won. Perfect. It's like a Disney story, but it doesn't end there. Some of the contestants are quite upset because they feel like Chidimma was given certain benefits and certain special treatment that the rest of the girls did not have. On that level, I would have to kind of agree because the entire batch of Miss Nigeria 2024, they had to audition for the role, for the opportunity to be part of the pageant, whereas Chidimma was invited personally. The organization extended her, you come join us and you can be one of us. If I was a member of the organization of Miss Universe Nigeria and I wanted to make a statement about come back home, we love you here, you're in the right place, I would have perhaps extended an invitation for next year when you can join and prepare at the same time as everyone else. And it's not kind of a last minute thing because to be honest, Chidimma was also in the chip, like she was prepared to compete for Miss South Africa. So her entire branding, her entire story, everything is basically crafted for the South African market. And then suddenly she has like a couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks to decide to go to Nigeria and suddenly represent a whole country, nation, culture, traditions that she comes from, she is related to, but it's not like she was living in Nigeria and like knowing the day-to-day life of a Nigerian. How can you represent them fairly on the stage of Miss Universe, right? I actually watched a video by Rina Hendricks, which I love and follow here, especially when it comes to South African pageantry. And she actually had very good points. Usually to compete in a country, to represent them at Miss Universe, you need to have residence or citizenship. How are you entering the country to compete? For example, if Chidimma was entering the country on a tourist visa, but then she is working as a title holder and working with sponsors, that will kind of be a conflict with immigration, and this could turn into something else. You also have to be empathetic and acknowledge the feeling of the girls who were actually competing since the very beginning and were minded, you know, to what they wanted to accomplish. Ultimately, we also have to acknowledge the feeling of the audience. People, pageant fans from Nigeria who feel like, you know, perhaps they got like a super representative now. Like some of them love Chidimma. Some of them are not so on board because they feel like their girls who were there originally, they were done dirty, basically. I really can't personally blame Chidimma for going to Miss Universe Nigeria. If I was her, perhaps I would have taken 1 year to prepare for it, to be at my best for the role and immerse myself in the culture and just being in Nigeria. Same thing applies for the organization. I think that it would have been ideal for them to allow Chidimma to join in a year. Open doors. Come on, girl. You are home. We love you here. Come give us your best. Have 1 year to rest, recover from what just happened, and then come back stronger. It would have been a perfect outcome. Now, I'm not saying that I'm mad because Chidimma won, because ultimately, as a pageant fan, all I want is to see quality girls, beautiful girls at Miss Universe, and she is precisely that. So from a pageant fan perspective, I can't really be upset at all. But also as a pageant fan, I wish that Chidimma had the opportunity to compete and win in a situation, in a context that everyone is on board and the audience is not polarized or split about her perception. I actually watched Chidimma's full performance on YouTube. Okay, the entire thing is there, from swimsuit to Q&A to everything, and I'll give you some of my opinions about it. Okay, so I thought the show goes this way. Open with a national costume. I mean, as usual, she looked beautiful. Was this the best costume under the sun? Definitely not. We've seen more elaborate. I think that even all the contestants within the pageant had better national costumes, but still she looked the part. And as you know, national costumes are not scored. It doesn't count towards the outcome of the competition. Moving on to the swimsuit round, she looked absolutely incredible. I feel like physically, facially, this is really her strength. Chidimma really dominates the stage when she is given the spotlight, and the swimsuit that they were given with this kind of like dark lights and neon colors, she was dominating. In this particular segment, I couldn't take my eyes off her. I also have to be honest and tell you that there is room for improvement when it comes to her walk, her knees, just things to polish for her to be Miss Universe ready. Of course, let's not forget, we are on a national level. There's time to prepare, so that's not a deal breaker. But I didn't think perhaps that Chidimma was so far removed from everyone in terms of performance that she was like the clear standout or the only potential winner for the entire batch. The evening gown portion came around, and once again, the looks are her strength. She wore a golden gown with some red accents around the waist and a nude illusion towards the bottom of the dress. She looked beautiful. She carried it well. Was I crazy about the gown? Not so crazy. I think she could have done better, especially the lower part of the dress. I thought it's almost like it was missing something. There's just too much fabric, enough sequins, not enough. I mean, if it's a nude illusion, I still don't just want to see the fabric and the legs. I still want to have a story being told with the gown. So although she looked pretty, I was expecting a little bit more on this particular round. For the Q&A round, she was asked how does she manage her personal ambition with the needs of other people, and I think she gave a pretty solid answer.
So how I do it is obviously by motivating myself, because the people around me will be inspired by me, and I know that I have a very powerful story, and I know that I am inspiring people, I am empowering people, and I know that my story has made an impact not only on my life but on so many people's lives. Thank you.
So I do think that was a solid answer. Was it the best thing that I've ever heard on a Q&A stage? Not really. Still pretty accurate to what was expected of her. Overall, if you ask me my impression about the full performance of Chidimma during Miss Universe Nigeria, I will say she gave a solid performance. I will say that other girls were also top performers for me. If Chidimma would have given this particular performance during the finals of Miss South Africa, I don't know if she would have gone home with the crown. Lots of people speculated that this was kind of a publicity stunt from Miss Universe Nigeria, and I do not want to point fingers at anyone or accuse anyone. I do feel like Miss Universe Nigeria will benefit from this in terms of visibility and coverage when it comes to Chidimma at Miss Universe, the same way that Chidimma will benefit from it in terms of her personal brand and her visibility. She will become kind of a spokesperson, like an icon for people from Nigeria who have been discriminated or rejected elsewhere. That's a very powerful position to be given. Can she do well at Miss Universe? Yes, of course. She has the look for it. I do think that there is need for more training, more polishing, more perfecting. Especially we need to figure out the whole Nigerian identity versus South African and come up with a story that is inspiring and uplifting. You cannot go to Miss Universe dividing people. You have to bring them together. So now enough about Chidimma for a moment. Let's talk about Nyakachi Douglas. We all know that she was a fan favorite. This is her second attempt at Miss Universe Nigeria, especially after ending as a first runner-up at Miss World in 2019, I believe. And of course, the fans have mixed feelings. She is considered one of the best queens in Nigeria, and the fans have been rooting for her to go to Miss Universe for a couple of years. It feels bittersweet when she was so close to the crown, and now because of eventualities, she did not even make it. There's a lot of people talking about it, there's a lot of people upset, and here's what I'm going to say. Normally speaking, in my personal experience, after I have traveled to so many pageants, after I have worked with so many pageants, after I have been in so many rooms with closed doors when you can hear things, usually when a contestant joins a pageant over and over again and she never gets the placement that she wants or the crown, it usually means that there is something with the contestant that the organization doesn't like. Sometimes it's a personality trait, sometimes it's a conflict of interest, sometimes it's a disagreement, sometimes it's something contractual. I don't know what the situation is with her. I cannot tell you myself why there is a disconnect between Nyakachi and Miss Universe Nigeria. I'm not saying that they have issues, but I'm saying that usually if a contestant keeps on joining and she doesn't get the title, it means that she doesn't fit the vision that they have. It might be the case, guys. As sad as that is, as much as I want to see Nyakachi at Miss Universe, we have to kind of face that. It is what it is. Let me know down below, how do you feel about Chidimma winning Miss Universe Nigeria? Do you think she will be a fit representative for the country at Miss Universe 2024 in Mexico? Are you for her? Are you against her? What are your reasons? Let's have a conversation down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.